Hey, what's up, my friends? I'm glad I'm here. My name is Chris Olexa, CEO and founder of Aspire to Be Hospitality Group, and I'm joined here with Kimberly Olexa, our CFO of the company. How are you, Kimberly?
I'm doing great.
Doing
Yes,
great?
Thanks.
All right. And I got my man over here, Justin Smith, my COO from where?
Jersey.
Jersey.
You gotta be brought up.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that
Yes,
later.
sir.
But hey, I want to start this off right now, though. I want to start this off at the very first of the podcast that, hey, if you like us, please subscribe us, make comments, like it. Go to Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, right? Apple
Yep,
Play.
yep.
And please put a comment in there, man. That's where we need to know where we're headed and what kind of topics we need to bring up. We're a podcast, guys, of three people that started this company really just from dirt, really, and grew up running this business and building this business. And we want to share this. Yeah. And we have so much to share. Not saying that we're perfect.
Absolutely not.
Right? Not saying that we're better than anybody else.
Oh, right.
But what we could share with you and the nuggets that we could share, I'm still in your thing, the nugget, man. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's something. But the thing that we can share in this podcast is something that we think you can take out to everyday life. And that's some feedback that we got. That it's just not entrepreneurship, man. It's in a whole day life. Being a better father, better mother, better husband, or whatever in life. So, hey, I think you get this. So if we're talking about a topic that might not be just like what you're into, but listen to it, because I think you're going to get some more out of it than just that, because that's how I live my life, man. So today's topic today, and this comes from you two guys, because we're doing a lot of this lately. Things are growing really fastly, is real estate and land in the right spot is what we're at today. So I want to dive right into that, because we're in some great growth right now. Yeah. So I think that's where we're starting out. So I want to dive right into this, and when we start looking at a spot, what's some of the biggest things I think we're looking at first, guys?
For our team, I mean, there's the highest level possible is there's instinct. We all go on our gut, and then that's supported by data. So I think there's a lot of metrics you need to pay attention to when you're looking at a spot, but then there's also of getting there and feeling it and looking at it, and instinct, gut, and data are where we start. And I think all of us have a little bit of we have strengths in each of those three, and that's what makes our team dynamic. But if you're not playing ball in all three of those three, you might do something a little more data heavy but never have gone there, and it might not make sense for operations to staff it. And there's a million examples where those things bounce off and forth each other, but I think we need to start with those three places.
Yeah. So data, I mean, we definitely dive into that. And what's one of the biggest things I think we dive into with that with you?
Yeah, so for sure data. But let me back up. For small business owners, the first thing I think we need to do, or they need to do, is really get their hands on a realtor that knows the business, that knows the area. Mm-hmm. That's the first step. That's step number one. And so they not just buy into just one realtor. They need to bring on maybe one or two that really know that the area of opportunity or the area of growth that they're going into as a small business owner.
Like when you're selling your house, you're looking for a guy to go sell your house, like a real estate agent. So when on the leasing side, shop around.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you're looking in a suburban market, look for a suburban guy, right? But if you're in a downtown Houston, you want to dig for somebody that knows that, right?
Yes, because they provide a bunch of information. So they'll come to you with several locations, and then that's when you go and you do your own market research, because they're going to come to you with great spots, right? And everything's great because they want to make a deal. They want to get their commission. But that's when you have to kind of pump the brakes, slow down as a business owner, and go and do some local market research on your own.
I got something funny to say.
Yeah.
Do you remember, so guys, when you go back and you'll start learning more about us, so we did our first Quiznos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you were a nurse. Mm-hmm. I managed a furniture store, and we start leasing this spot. We had no clue what a LOI was.
I didn't even know what LOI stood for.
I mean, it was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then TI, tenant improvement.
Yeah.
That's
I had no idea what that meant.
We didn't know what that meant. We didn't know that we were signing our life away for a 10-year lease, and however long it was. We didn't understand all that, but we caught up really quickly.
Oh yeah.
And that's really cool too. So when you go into business, you might be a seasoned business owner, or you might be somebody brand new. make sure you do some research and make sure you get your real estate agent, you let them know what level you're at.
Yeah, so
Right.
you were taking us to a really good place when you said about Quiznos. What we did as a team, we went and sat in Quiznos and we observed.
Yeah.
We observed their lunch, we observed their dinner, we observed their customer base, we observed the community that they were in. And so that's like what Justin was just talking about. As we go into these areas, we do our own market research and we go and sit, we see what the spot that the realtor brings to us, the business that we're coming to, is this a good fit
Yeah.
for that area? Does that area need this type of business, whatever we're bringing into them? What's the vibe? What's the synergy of the spot?
Yeah.
What's the community? What's the rooftops look like around it? Is there anything that's bringing people, industries, or whatever to that area? Is there a school? Is there a college? Is there a baseball field, a little league field, or whatever?
I want to say this. Let's play this game, right? We're in the process of growing a lot, and we're in the process of really and working on. Let's go ahead and throw it out there that we're working on right now, so we can use this as kind of dissect it. Buffalo Wild Wings, right? We're opening a new Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yes.
We're bringing it to League City, Texas,
Yes.
right? So let's start that way. We got a leasing agent. We go out and shop the market, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're looking around. We're driving around. How many times you drove that area?
As many as I can. So, I mean, yeah, to piggyback off, too, it's like not just your business that you're going in and seeing how it feels. It's like you're sitting in your competitor's business, too, especially if you're going to a shopping center. You're sitting there and kind of looking around and seeing how it feels. But, yeah, when I'm driving by or I'm looking, I'm validating the data that's in front of me. So I know how many rooftops are within 1 and 3 miles, and I'm asking myself, are they coming? And I think all of that's prefaced with like this idea of like a brand identity. So if we're building a Buffalo Wild Wings, we're very interested in rooftops and maybe around that area. But if we're doing more of a destination type concept, we're looking at traffic patterns and we're taking a look at the data and then the analysis, and we're going there. And that gut and that instinct piece is a super important aspect of starting an operation, because that's a segue into, can I staff the piece appropriately? How's that going to, is it the right clientele that are actually showing up? What type of pockets am I in? So the brand identity and what you're building needs to be really top of mind. And then back to the broker conversation, and I'm glad I went into a completely different place. Yeah, you start with a broker, but you also need to make sure that broker has your best interest at heart and in place. And that's led with the model that you should be giving them. You need to tell them, go find me 10 spots, but you also need to tell them, for me to responsibly open a store, this is where I need to play ball.
Yeah.
This is what I need the ranges to be for all of the metrics and starting a space. And you have to lead with that. So there's no wasted time. And, you find things that fit your model, and you can, that's the starting point of a LOI negotiation. And I don't think we called out with an LOI is. So that's going to be your letter of intent with the landlord, and basically just coming to some initial terms on saying, yeah, this deal feels good for both parties. Let's get our attorneys involved and start getting to the point where we might sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we first started in business, the LOIs were coming to us. But as we got more experience under our feet, more better prepared, now we go to them with LOIs, and that is a world of difference when you can put forth your own LOI in front of these landlords and say, this is what I want, this is what I need. And so it just makes a world of difference. And then now we're to data, right? So now
I want to say some of the LOI though part, Kim. That's great you brought that up, because now being a part of a franchise system, most of your big franchisors, right? They have that. They can share that data with you and give you an LOI. Basically, in that LOI is intent to tell you what kind of power you need, what kind of water pressure you need, sanitary lines, things like that. Because before we got in this business, again, I didn't know what 208. 408 power was, but they kind of tell you what that is. So that's really cool, because now you're putting that to the landlord saying, no, I want this. Instead of them kicking back, this is what we want, or what you're going to do for us, we're going to do this for you, kind of a thing. It switches back. So that's great on that.
Yeah. So now that we've collected our data and we know pretty much what we're up against, now we can pretty much project our sales of what we think we're going to do at this location. So now we go into negotiation, lease space, and how much we can afford to pay per square foot on a lease space. And so,
And that's important too. I feel like a lot of people pass that up, you know, because as we're out in the field and we're talking to meetings, talking to franchisees, and they're talking about, well, I do this much or this much in sales, and they kind of get themselves upside down a little bit in that area because they go into it projecting their sales kind of on an average basis.
because they're sales excited.
Yeah, the sales excited, and you go to it in sales depression.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you only can win from when you hit the bottom. You only can win going up, right?
I got a confession to make, Kim. Justin comes in my office a lot, and he's like, Kim's put us a budget this much sales.
Yeah.
Do you really think? And I'm like, nah, but just let her do her thing because she's really good. But then she comes back and negotiates the lease at that level. And then when we're up here, it's so much better.
It's kind of like when you walk out
Responsible
of
growth.
a test. Yeah, when you walk out of a test, you think, bummed. You're just convincing yourself, I just failed that test. And when you make a B, you're like, man, I made a B.
I never made a B.
Well, different podcast.
89.7. Oh, wait, was it 69.7? It rounded up to a 70. Boom, I can still play football. Okay.
So we get to the point where we find a spot we like, we vet it out, we're there, we've got the model, it fits, we're working on an LOI and a lease, but then you get into it doesn't fit your terms. So what are some of the things that you can do to, do you sit and wait and negotiate further? I think one of the pieces that we found that's been super interesting lately is like really need to pay attention to like how big your restaurant even is, and every square foot matters, and maximizing your space and trying to get as many seats possible for the space that you have. So I think there's a lot more that goes into just looking at a space, and a lot of these landlords will sell you something at a certain amount of square footage, but that's a negotiable piece in many, many places. And I think the size of your business will matter immensely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said something very smart there. You said, you can't project doing $3 million in sales when you only can seat 100 people in your restaurant.
Yeah.
That's going to be very hard to do.
That's
right?
unrealistic,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, so you have to pay attention to what you're buying or what you're signing into. So you want to get with the architect, see what they can design, how many butts and seats that they can put within your lease space
and
lean
even to
towards your
piggyback
projected
further on
sales.
that, you're going to feel real nice about your years 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But are you forecasting and planning properly for your years 6 through 10? And I know I see you chomping at the bit at this one. We get to year 10 and it's like, oh, that would be the year that
That rent increases, right?
That it increases again, or however that's negotiated. And those are things that you got to pay attention to. You got to be looking for 10 years from now. And sure, we'd all love same store sales every single year being in the positive, and that's how you're going to build your business, with the expectation to do that. But if you're in responsible growth mode, you have to have all winners. You cannot have a dud.
Yeah, and you have to pay attention to year 10.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about you. You do come to us, and immediately, I mean, we get excited. We got this rent rate. We think we got all the numbers matching. It's like, hey guys, just want you to know they're trying to bump you 10, 15%. If we don't see an average increase of sales, our occupancy rate's going to be a little flipping here, and that could put us in a problem because sometimes you don't think of long term. It's like how I look at it, Justin, and I've done this, right? You go buy something, you put a pool in, then you realize it's great, but 2 years later, pumps start going out, heaters start going out, all this stuff, and it's just upkeep on these things are so expensive. Same thing in that business wise. If you don't pay attention to the long term, that when you get down that road and you don't keep seeing an increase in sales, well, that rent's going to keep increasing. So something to really pay attention to. But some good stuff here, man.
Some of the restrictions to that too are like, and I see this in many, many businesses, is like not enough parking.
Yeah.
How many times you go up to a really cool business and it's like, I can't go there. There's no spaces, or it just, who thought of this space when they purchased it? And that's something that you really have to consider when you're picking a spot, is negotiating not only how many parking spots, but, being kind of greedy with it and maybe trying to get your own couple takeout spots, or, your own special spots that allow your business and that throughput to happen, especially if you're in a Bearsy area.
I'm glad you said that. Me and Kim were traveling the other day, and you were so heavy on a certain sandwich concept that you just love. So I was like, I'm going to stop at this one day. Kim had an appointment. We had to get there, and I said, I'm going to get a sandwich. And I rode in this parking lot and could not find a parking spot. Yeah. Could not find a parking spot. It was like, where do I park to even go in here? And you kind of look at the co-tenancy, right? So these shopping centers are starting to put like a medical centers in there now, a lot of things. And that took up a lot of their
If you're a lunch
spot.
business, that'll hurt you.
Yes, because people want to go right in and get out. Now, believe me, guys, I hear you out there. Some of y'all live in downtown big metropolitan areas. Y'all are used to not having parking spot, but majority of us, we got to have a parking spot. We don't want to walk across the rain or what. And I get that, but sometimes in business, you got to look at who your co-tenancies are in that too. And you want to make sure that co-tenancy matches you. Right? And
good synergies there.
And the brands, like, is that brand is somebody you really want next to you? What kind of tenants are they attracting? And is it going to coexist together? I mean, for example, like a Buffalo Wild Wings Go. I mean, we have a new store we built, and they put a Salada, right? We're right beside each other. That's a perfect match for us, I feel, right? Because mom wants salad, dad wants wings, or my dad wants salad, mom wants wings. Yeah. So it's a co-tenancy that kind of matches together because, hey, I can hit that one spot, park in one spot, and get two different dinners, right?
Yeah.
So co-tenancy.
Here's another crazy one is just like the idea of visibility and how we're going to see it and signage.
Yeah.
And taking advantage of, if you're negotiating next to a busy road, making sure you're capitalizing on all that traffic. How many times have you gone past a business and it's like, I didn't even know that was there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and when you're negotiating your lease and when you're looking at picking a spot, that's a really important metric that's going to get you more bang for your buck.
Hey, all of our listeners out there, I want you to do this, and we talk about this all the time because we were touring a site the other day of a potential. We're buying this existing store. Can't say what it is, but you go by the shopping center, beautiful shopping center. But the exterior was not maintained. Mm-hmm. The grass wasn't maintained. You're paying to maintain that. Trees didn't look good. Grass was all over the place. But as you're driving the areas, you'll see these shoppers they put up. And they put these pretty little trees up first. But then 10 years later, the tree is completely grown, and it's completely covering the whole building that you can't even see your signage anymore. That's something you also have to pay attention to.
You said something really important there. You're paying for it. So whether it's a beautiful shopping center or run down, that's through your CAM.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that you want to speak real quickly on how you negotiate that because
that's Kim's
you're
thing.
a master at that piece of the.
Because this is one of my pet peeves, and so a lot of these landlords love CAM and they love to build a lot of cost into their CAM and
administrative fees.
Yes, so they love corporate fees, overhead fees, administrative fees. The fees go on and on, right? So you want to, when you're negotiating these LOIs right up front, you want to just come in and say the percentage of what you're agree to, your CAM percentage. And you don't want to go in at too low because you're tying these landlords. This is how they maintain the facility that you're leasing. So you don't want to go in too low. But we like to play in the ranges between 2 and 5%, and we like to put in the verbiage non-cumulative, meaning they cannot year over year increase 5% year over year, right?
Put in the verbiage. You demand it in the verbiage.
yeah, I do. We do.
Yeah.
Because, and sometimes it's a win for us. Sometimes we can't get a budge on it, and sometimes we just walk from the deal on it.
Yeah.
But whatever the case may be, it's important for you to play all those factors up front and build that into your occupancy rate.
Yeah.
Because you want to stay 10% or below. Sweet spot is 6%.
Yeah.
But that's really hard to get nowadays due to all the cost increase. But 6 to 10% for all those new entrepreneurs out there that are listening is where you want to stay. And you want to do that throughout the lease term. You can't just go in at 10% year one because in year 10 you've had those bumps and then you're upside down as far as your occupancy rate goes.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Justin, and Kim, you dove into that because a lot of people don't understand what that is, because you're looking at the rent rate, right?
Yeah.
And you think this is my negotiation rate, and I'm going to use this as like, you have HOA cost. Let's say you might buy a house in a beautiful addition, and this is my mortgage, but then you don't pay attention to the fine print down there that you're in an HOA, and now they're charging you $100 a month, $100 a year. I don't know what it might be. And that maintains the front. It maintains the grass. If you have a pool that's a community pool, playground, they're charging you that to maintain it. And people don't pay attention to that. And it's funny because our son, he booked his first trip to go somewhere. And he's so excited. He didn't want our help. Him and his girlfriend are going to Vegas, right? Leaving A&M. And he called me and said, Dad, they told me the hotel room was, this amount of money, but then they're charging a resort fee.
Yeah.
And he's on a budget. Kid goes to A&M, and he's like,
People love
Dad, I didn't know that they're going to charge a resort fee that's almost half the price of the room per night.
Yeah.
And I said, son, you got to pay attention to the fine print. So I'm glad you brought that up, because as a young franchisee or when we started this, those are the things we didn't know about it. And I want to hit on one thing too. When you said this, you got to walk away sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't fall in love with any site. You have to be willing to walk.
Yeah.
And sometimes that plays in our favor, and sometimes it doesn't. But you have to know. Your realtor has to know that you will walk if the deal is not right for your business, because and a lot of times they'll come back and they'll be willing to negotiate. But
we hate that because we get excited. Me and him fall in love at sites. You're like, we might walk away. We do. We get excited. And sometimes, matter of fact, there's a site right now we were just talking about the other day. You're like, we're not paying that. We can't afford that. It's not going to happen. We're like, we really love that site. But, it makes perfect sense.
No, the reality, though, is it still might happen.
It still might happen.
You just have to go through the process. You
got to go through the process.
And so we got two deals, really. Well, we got a bunch of deals working right now, but there's a site that I love that you said that, because there's somebody, a Buffalo Wild Wings, our next location 2 that we're building out. It'll be going in 2024. I guess that store. We walked away from that site.
We did.
You walked away
Twice.
from. It's a brand new construction, beautiful area. I mean, everything that you want around you. It's everything, right? Rooftops, school. High school stadiums, everything's right there. Every big player is building in this new development. And it's a growing city, and we were so excited. But, man, the deal just did not make sense.
Didn't.
I mean, there's no way we can make money. And I remember a long time ago, I had a partner that when we first started this, he was like, man, dude, we could do, $6 million of this Buffalo Wild Wings right if we build right here. And I'm like, yeah, but at that rent rate, we need to do $6 million just to kind of break even. So you think of these high numbers, but you got to make money at it. And you walked away. And I was heartbroken. Yeah. Because I fell in love. I think you were too a little bit.
We're in this to make money. We're not in this.
I think me and Jessica were both, but it was. It was. You got to be serious with yourself. It wasn't a good deal. No. We walked away, and I want to even say it's happened twice. You walked away. 2 months later, they called you back, and they met our number, or something close to our number, right?
Yeah, close.
A little close to it.
Yeah, closer.
But then there was another part of that negotiation where you pushed back a little bit more, and actually our agent said, there's no way they'll do that.
Yeah.
There's no way. And you were like, Bruce, they're going to do it, or we're going to walk away. And it's funny, the next day he said, I can't believe they did it.
Yeah.
Because, it's...
Well, we've been in this business long enough to know, I can tell you with a good head on my shoulders what landlords, if they're hungry or not. That's just the experience of what we bring to the table. But for our new business owners that we're talking to out there, they just got to know, don't fall in love with the site. Yeah. Fall in love with the numbers.
There you go.
But don't fall in love with the site.
I like it.
Well, yeah, you can fall in love with the site, and if it, ultimately you could have a good brand, a good business, and on opening day we could operate, and when it comes to, all right, Justin, let's operate this thing and let's hit our goals, and I start hitting my goals and we're not profitable, then this is exactly what this episode is intended to get everybody ready to be just prepared to be thinking about. Yeah. When you're picking a site and you're negotiating your site, it has to fit the model, and you have to be able to walk away. You've got to use your gut. You've got to use your instinct. You've got to use your data, so operations can take it and run with it. Whatever your goals are, 15, 20, 25% profit margins, whatever they are, operations has to be able to execute that, and that's with no errors. That's with zero waste. Yeah. That's operating perfectly from day one. So this is the first stepping stone to really starting a successful business.
Yeah, and at the part of it too, you got to get out of your seat. You got to get out of your car. Don't just depend on the landlord. Don't just depend on aerial views. Don't depend on data that you're always getting. Let's get out there and dig a little bit. Let's get dirty, meaning get out there and, like you said, go to your competitors. Whoever you're building across the street from, or down the road from, or in that area, go sit in their place. Of course, take your shirt off, and watch the lunch business, watch the night business. Visit with the manager. They might share some information with you that you need. Like, hey, what's your weekly sales here? and they'll open up to you. And matter of fact, none of my managers better be sharing any information out in our stores. But then also, we got out of the store the other day, got out of the office, and me and Kim went and toured the site, this League City, because we needed some information that our architects needed right now. Architects are in Tennessee; they couldn't come down. And they're like, "Hey, we need to confirm what kind of power is there." And it's an existing building and what kind of ACs are there. So me and Kim drove to the store, went to this building. They gave us a key. We went inside. We're taking pictures. We're banging around, looking at the power. I'm opening up breaker boxes and this stuff. And then we get to the back and we're taking pictures of the plumbing, the gas meters, just all this data that we're going to need, our architect's going to need, and to help us save money, right? Because this stuff was already there. These ACs are on the roof. And this is a big shopping center. And they put these little ladders up there, and it starts 6 foot tall. You're supposed to bring a little ladder to lean up against it, but we didn't bring that. And Kim's like, "How are we going to get up?"
What you're supposed to do?
Yeah, you're supposed to put a ladder up there.
Holy moly!
Yeah. So, for those that know, I just had knee surgery recently, and about 4 weeks out. It's getting a lot better. But Kim's like, "We got to get on the roof and get pictures of the air conditions," because I didn't know this until a long time ago. That I took a picture of the serial number. You type the serial number in. Linux or whatever brand, and it'll tell you what year model, it'll tell you everything about it, and that's what we need to know because we can reuse these ACs. Kim said, "I'll get on the roof." You get on the roof. No, I'm getting on the roof. No, we don't. Okay, no,
I
okay.
felt powerful. I went to CrossFit.
She did.
Yeah.
I wish I'd brought my phone, and here she is, I'm pushing her feet up. She climbing. People are driving by this shop and saying, like, "What are these crazy people doing?" And, Kim, you're 49, and you climbed up that thing like Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
I mean, you did.
And I'm scared of heights.
Yeah, you did great at
I've
it.
been watching too many cheer competitions. You're basing.
Yeah, I know. You're right. My daughter does. I was basing it up there, but it wasn't as pretty as they did. Right? But that's somewhat. Just to go back to reality, that's what we had to do to get some research done, because that could save us a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not building new and you have the opportunity to grab a conversion or a second gen something, and you can save a cooler, an AC unit, a bathroom, those are mega bucks to really get into something, and they're super attractive. It's very important you look at that.
Yeah.
The conversions are kind of what we're looking at too. Sometimes you look at these, these brands that have unfortunately gone down in today's world and economy. And what can I take if we're building a Buffalo Wild Wings? What can I go into if that's a existing certain restaurant you can convert instead of having to build a brand new one? Sometimes you can save some money doing that. So, but hey, great info today. Again, man, y'all both come bring different aspects to the business and all. I enjoyed today's conversation. Anything else would you like to add to this?
Hey, the only thing I want to add is remember in your LOI, your letter of intent, when you're going in these lease spaces, that's the time to put all negotiations out. Don't wait till the lease comes out. Put all that up front. Everything that we've talked about here today, put that in your LOI, and that's the nugget that I want to drive home to.
So put all that in there first before the lawyers really start getting in there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And remember too, we talk about this. You negotiate this LOI, you sign it, you send it, they sign it, you send it, and then they start the lease.
That's right.
But truly, after you sign that, it's really not official. So you can walk away from that deal easily. But at least you got them on point that you got what you needed, the rent rates, the most important things that you kind of need. Then let the lawyer start doing all the,
Because what you negotiate in the LOI does go into the lease.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
Yeah. So that's a good nugget, Kimberly. Justin, anything?
I think you just have a plan with your brand identity, and if you're a dinner business, just the simple detail of what side of the road you're on can make all the difference in the world in being successful. So go in with a plan and have some metrics that are really important to your business, and then rally around those metrics. And if you're not comfortable with what those metrics are, you need to revisit if you should even be looking for a spot. But everything that we talked about matters. It'll really set you up for success.
Yeah. Well, I didn't tell you all this, so we're going to wrap this episode up today, and had a good time today with this. And I learn every time I talk to y'all something different. But hey, I'm gonna throw a curveball. Right, and y'all gonna be sitting there like, Kim's like, what's a curveball? What's a curveball? I want to have fun with this a little bit, because people really got to get to know us, and we're gonna start kind of basic a little bit, that who we truly are and what we're all about. But this is gonna be kind of basic, and as we're in Buffalo Wild Wings, right? So I want to know something. I'm gonna ask you first, Kim. Kim's like, look at me. Oh, what is he about to ask? Because she knows I do this all the time with her.
And I'm thinking, what am I about to say?
Yeah. So. what is your favorite item at Buffalo Wild Wings and your favorite wing sauce?
My favorite item at Buffalo Wild Wings, of course, is the wings.
The wings.
But my favorite sauce is Asian Zing.
Yeah.
And I always get it confused when ordering sometimes with mango habanero.
Ooh.
I don't know why I do that. But I do. My mind is thinking Asian Zing. And then I tell my server mango habanero.
They look alike.
They look alike.
Yeah.
And then 30 seconds after you're eating it, you're
I'm
like,
like,
ooh,
I
that
did
was the
it
wrong
again.
choice.
It's hot. I'm like, she's like, this is hot. I'm like, you got mango. Like, oh,
Yes,
I
yeah.
screwed up again too.
But Asian Zing is my go-to sauce. I like that sauce.
Yeah.
It's one of my fave sauces.
Yeah.
And,
To wash it down.
and I
what?
like it specifically on boneless wings.
Oh, this wing.
Ranch or blue
But,
cheese?
Yeah, neither with that one.
Do you just,
Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
sauce is enough? That's
just the sauce on that one.
Okay.
To wash it down. What would you?
Good shiner.
Yeah,
of
good
course.
shiner. Yeah.
Shiner.
She loves the shiner. That's her beer. All right, Justin. So you got to next time I might throw you first because now you had a chance to think about it.
I've
Kim,
got
but-
a specific one. It wouldn't have mattered on this one. 'Cause
Yeah.
I ordered pretty much the same thing all the time. So I like wings as well.
Yeah.
I'm an all drum guy. Love the drums. And then I always ask for them extra crispy. And at every Buffalo
do
Wild
too.
Wings, I know there's a well done button in the point of sale system.
Yeah.
So I'll tell my server, just hit the well done button as many times as you can.
You're
and
dehydrating
we'll
the
s-
wings,
and I want
man.
beef jerky.
Yeah.
Me
That's-
too.
I'm
I
looking
want
for some jerky.
dehydrated wings.
And
Yeah.
the sauce to have good jerky is Chipotle barbecue dry rub.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a
And
good one.
ranch or blue cheese doesn't matter, but I love the carrots.
Yeah.
So carrots, drums, as jerky as you'll make them, Chipotle barbecue dry rub.
That's good. That's good.
Kim orders her wings extra crispy, and I'm like, that's why she when you get bacon, she always gets it like extra crispy. I like mine juicy and kind of little fatty.
Well, I can
too.
do the Buffalo Go wings now. I won't even ask for them crispy and
They're good.
twice fried.
Yeah, that's a good product. So now it's me, right? Do I have to answer this?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to
I
answer
want to
my.
know your sauce.
The food wise is the burger right now. I mean, our
Ooh,
burger
yeah,
is
that's a good
I mean,
one.
the all American cheeseburger. I want to send shots out to our food and beverage team out there, Jamie, and our chefs that came up with that burger. Man, it is one of the best burgers, and that's a product that people really don't try. They think it's just wings, which we are great at wings. And our sauces are phenomenal, but our burger is great. And man, we're adding on to that thing all the time. But my favorite sauce is Caribbean jerk. Yeah.
Ooh, have you ever tried
jerk chicken.
Caribbean jerk on hamburger?
Yeah, I haven't.
You need to do that.
I will try to do that one day. What are we eating for lunch today? Let's go. But anyway, Caribbean jerk. First time I walked in Buffalo Wild Wings years and years ago. Got the Caribbean jerk. Great. Loved it. And it's one of my faves.
It's got some kick.
It does got a
Jerk
little
has a
kick.
little
It does
kick,
have a kick. But, honey barbecue. And one thing, a little snip, we got new sauces coming out all the time. There's a couple out there right now that people are going to go crazy because
really
they're
good.
limited time offer. The honey barbecue, honey garlic right now and the Buffalo Ranch. And one cool thing, I should have brought it in here, that I'm on the food and beverage committee of Buffalo Wild Wings. And I get to, and y'all do too, you get to sample the new sauces that are coming
Yeah.
out next year, and they're
We
little
appreciate
jars. It's called
service.
private.
I enjoy those days where we
Yeah,
get to
so-
sample things. That's so fun.
Yeah, so they bring in like 12 wings in the office, and let everybody taste it. Like, what do you think? What do you think about this? So, we're tasting sauces that are going to come out a year from now, and it's really cool, man. There's
20 years in, we're all still eating the wings.
we still eat the wings.
Oh, yeah.
Still ask.
I mean,
Yes. Weekly.
I crave them.
Weekly.
I crave the
Yes,
wings,
yes.
and
My
People-
kids
I could
do
eat them
too.
every day. It's crazy.
Yeah, Chapel, where you want to go for dinner?
Buffalo Wild Wings, yep.
Kids, and it's funny when my kids come in from college, and then I have a soon-to-be senior. Like, hey, me and the friends are going to Buffalo's. B-dubs. Like,
B-dubs.
okay, can I comp my ticket? Like, pay your ticket. Make
Not
sure.
just her ticket.
Yeah, she wants to comp our friends, and then and make sure you tip, right?
Yes,
But hey, guys, thank you for taking the time out, man. Love you. Love everything we got to bring, and watch out for new one coming out soon.